December 5th, fifth day of Vlogmas. I am up, getting ready for a retreat. I am ready for my 20 minutes of knitting first at the kitchen table, but I wanted to show you what I was working on last night. I'm going to put the camera down so you know that. I might edit that out. This is the bag Sandy made me. You know, Sandy has been on a lot of podcasts making a lot of bags. She's just a lovely lady, and she loves to make bags, and she loves to share her craft. She doesn't sell them, doesn't want to make money off of them. She just loves to do it. So it's a big bag for a big project. It has pockets here and here, and then inside she's got her zipper pocket, and then the zipper has a pocket behind it. So it's a pretty nice bag. Now, for what I'm making, let me put this in here. Let me find the picture. It's kind of bunched up here. This one, you can see it better. It's called Quadrangle Spires. Stephen West. Let's see if I can get a little closer. There. So that's what I'm making. I'm using Connie yarn. The yarn is self-striping. I have two different self-stripings. This one is just light blue to royal blue. Right here, this is the whole range of colors right there. Now this one, on the other hand, is very colorful. If you look inside, there's orange and brown, and you'll see all the colors in a minute. But this is the yarn, the Connie. Comes in 150 gram balls or even more. Let's see if they say. Sometimes the striped ones come bigger. This one was 140. Where's the size on this one? 170. So they come in big skeins. And then this is my Quadrangle Spires. Of course, you know, one end is on a needle, so that's going to be hard to see. But this is the center. These 4 quadrangles. And they each go a different direction. And then this is the end where I'm starting to work up and make the long part. So, and you just keep making this pattern. And as you'll notice, this pattern is the pattern I made on that hat that I finished and I blocked. All I did was I cast on 88 stitches, used a size 7 needle, and then I did a little ribbing, and then I did this pattern. It worked out perfect size. So, yeah. I'm always, you know, trying new stitch patterns on hats and socks. That's a fun thing to do. So, yeah, that's what this is. And I'll, you know, I like to work on 1 or 2 rows a night just so that it's not stagnant. I guess like my 20 minutes a morning, I get to do 10 minutes at night. The rows are 210 stitches, so they don't take real long. Not like some of Stephen's shells where they can go to, you know, 800-900 stitches. So, yeah, this morning I am going to drink my coffee and work on the sock that needs a heel. So let's see if I can turn this down a little more here. So this is the one that's done. After I finish one, I usually use that to measure. I don't measure with the sock ruler anymore. I want them the same, and what if I messed up before? This is a quite long sock. John has size 13 feet, 13 wide, so this is 72 inches wide, and that's like 12 3/4 inches, I think it was when I looked on the thing. So take an inch off for negative ease, or I did a little more. I figured 12 1/2, and then I went down to 11 1/2. Oh no, I think I did 10 inches here. I didn't know. Whatever it is, it's gonna work. Let's see. If I put this here, no, I did go 9 1/2. So yeah, 11 1/2, take off 2 inches for the heel, because the heel ends up about 2 inches. Let's see if mine did. Oh yeah. I don't know if you can see the marks. It looks like they're blowing out, but it was about 2 inches. So this part was 9 1/2 from here to here. So again, that's, I rounded to 12 1/2. Take your inch off for ease, so that goes down to 11 1/2, and then take 2 inches off for the heel, and that brings you down to 9 1/2. So 9 1/2 from tip of toe to where we're going to cut in for the heel. So now we'll do the second one, and I'll line them up. Gotta have a nice hard flat surface. Can't do this one on your lap, folks. And this is the side where I started. See, I have a pin there, so I know that's the side I started. And I try to follow this up. You know, where the decreases are, you go 1 row over. So this was the decrease row, so I want 1 row over. It's staying pretty consistent. It's right here. 1 column over, I should say. Okay. And that's there. So this is my first stitch right here. And then I'll just go the right leg of every other stitch all the way across. Well, not all the way. I go 17 and then pick up the next needle. Or, no, 18. 72 divided by 4 is 18. And I do 2 rows straight, and then from there, then I go start my decreases. And the reason I do that, one of the reasons is I like to not weave in Steven, but weave in your ends as you go. It's the Knit Purl Hunter method. It's a little different than weaving in Steven. Weave in Steven, you wrap the same way every stitch. For Knit Purl Hunter, she has you do your stitch, put the yarn up, do a stitch, put the yarn down, the tail yarn I'm talking about. So I should show you, not just tell you. Oh, I still got a tail here. Oh, I guess you can't even hardly see it. But what it does is it goes up and down like that. It kind of makes an S. And it blends in really well. I mean, you can hardly see it. When I cut my ends, I always leave about a 1/4 inch to the inside. I know sometimes it gets sucked back in, but I would rather have a little tail here, just a little bit, you're not going to hardly feel it, than have it poking out the front side. And sometimes if you cut it real flush to your knitting, then it pops out the other side as soon as you stretch it a little. So yeah, so I weave in my ends as I go. I go at least 15 to 20 stitches. I'm weaving those ends in. And the first row, I weave in the end of the old color, And the second row, I weave in the end of the new color. So that's that. How many do I have here? 5, 10, 15, 16, 17, 18. And look at it really hard once you have your needle in there. They are all straight. It is really easy to jump up a row or down a row, especially jump up. So you got to be really careful you stay straight. And now I'll pick up the second needle and go across. If it's hard to see if you're straight on your second needle, look at the row below it and then just poke in above the stitch above. Don't try to follow the one on your needle, follow the one below it. My voice sounds a little scratchy this morning. I guess I need more coffee. When you get to parts like this, it's really nice because then, like, I got the yellow right underneath. Oh, wait. Am I right? Yeah, it's okay. Phew, I thought I was wrong for a minute. Okay. We're close to the end. 5, 10, 15, 16. 17, 18. Let's count that again just to be sure. This time we'll go by 4s. 4, 8, 12, 16, 18. Yep. So now we should be able to follow this stitch down and see that we're right there where we're supposed to be. Right at the decreases, so we're good. And then I turn it over. I take my other needle. I love my little tray, my garbage can. And you go right under it, skip one row. You're skipping a row. And then go right across the same way. And still in the right leg, because it works out right when you're knitting it. It'll all be seated right on your needle if you always pick up the right leg of the stitch. Never pick up the whole stitch. If you do, it would fall right back off, of course. So that's that. I'm going to do that. Then I'm going to snip the yarn and rip it back. I might not stay home and do this all right now. So maybe I'll flip the camera back on when I'm snipping and then picking. So I'm going to finish my coffee, get ready to go, and then I'll see you tonight. Bye-bye. Lovely start of the day. Have put air in my tire. A warning light came on, said I'm down to 24 pounds. These things are usually at 21, so pumping it up. No warning light. Let's see. Oh, there it is. See, that's what came on before. Told me I had 24 pounds. How do I get this back? Back. There, it says 26 now. When I thought it said 21, it was on metric. I switched it over and that it was at 30 then because I had pumped it for a few seconds already. So yeah, I messed up. But I'm sure as soon as I start driving, that's going to fix itself because it takes a few minutes. This has happened before. It takes a few minutes and it'll show that it's back. Hello. Nighttime now. I'm back from my retreat. Came back a little early. Just didn't want to have such a late night. So I took 5 minutes before I turned the camera on and I finished picking up, I'll show you, picking up where I was this morning. So now I have a row of stitches picked up here, skip a row, it's hard to see in there, skip a row, see between there, and then pick up another row, 18 stitches on each one. This is a 72 stitch sock. So this is going to be for the heel. So now to split those up, I'm going to pick up a stitch right here. It doesn't have to be the exact middle, but just kind of close, because you're not going to cut this tail again other than that one stitch, because you want to leave the tails so that you can use them to weave in later. This one seems kind of tight. Now if you pick it up with a lifeline instead of a needle, or you pick it up on a 40-inch circular, then you'd move this section to the cord so it's not so hard. But with double points, you got the whole width of the needle there. Yeah, it's much easier with the double points, or with the circular or a lifeline. So then you just like pick this out all the way across until you get to where there's only the last 2 stitches. And then you stop right here with the unpicking. And the reason you do that is so that when you add your heel, you don't get any hole in the corner. Otherwise, sometimes you get a little stress point right there where, if you picked it all the way back to here, it's fine structurally, but there's a stress point and it could result in a little hole. I don't like that little hole. So I stopped 2 stitches before, and then when you stop 2 stitches before, you get a nice clean heel. You see there's no hole there. This heel looks funny. You're probably wondering, you mean that's a heel? That is a heel, because look, when you stretch it this way, like a sock is usually folded, it looks perfectly like a heel. So, but see, there is no hole there. There never will be a hole there because these stitches goes 2 stitches in. And then you weave them in right away so those don't come unraveled. Okay, so you unpick, you leave your tail hang, because when you start knitting in the round to put your heel in, you're going to leave those last 2 stitches there. And this one is one that's done. So I would have done the same thing, and then you just start knitting. First row, you weave in your old color, this color. Second row, you weave in the end of your blue, and then after that, you start your decreases. And if you need a deeper heel because you have a really high arch, you can even make it 4 rows before you start your decreases. Now I do a full wedge down to 14 on the 72 stitch sock every other row. The toe, I do not. You see, the toe is much more rounded. So for the toe, I go every other row decrease until I get to 12 stitches, and then I decrease every row. So you got a slow, then a fast, and it makes a very nice rounded toe. So half of them, the other half. So that's how I do it. There's many different ways to do it. It's best for you, but I just wanted to share what I did. So that's where we are with the socks. we'll get those all picked up, or unpicked first in the center, and then picked up. I'll do that tomorrow morning with my coffee. I wanted to show you a little bit of what I was working on today. One thing I was working on was my Musselburgh. This is a pattern by Isolde Teague on Ravelry. I am using yarn I dyed myself. It was called zebra yarn when you bought it, so the black was already there, and I just dyed it gray. You go for 18 inches, and I believe you only measure from the last decrease down. So what is that? That looks like I'm about 15 right now, I'd say. Probably about 15. Let's measure. My handy tray's got everything. About 14 3/4, so I was close. So I got about 3 more inches, and then I'm gonna see if I like it. Because I've heard a couple people say they wish they went an extra inch or 2. And now remember, this is gonna go with that bandana cowl I showed you yesterday. I think they'll go very nicely together. And I got another thing back here in my purse. I took these. This was cut-offs from sock tubes like this. And I just crocheted a bind off on each end. And then on this top end, I crocheted another row, a second row, where I did single crochet chain 1 all the way around. So it's a minimum of rolling. I mean, it's all stockinette, so it's gonna roll, but it's a minimum of rolling. So, and then once I got all the way around, I just did a slip stitch crochet down like 4 or 5 stitches straight down. There's 18 stitches around the thumb, and then 4 chains down. And I think I made 1 chain go over 2 rows. Yeah, so that's all that was, a very quick thing, except for, oh my goodness, picking up these stitches, you know, like I just did with the sock here. I picked them up and put them on a lifeline, but this is black and this is Angora. It was a nightmare to see it and pick those up. I had an aunt like this far away from it, and I was down like this trying to see it just to get it to pick it up. So that took the longest time for these. Otherwise, once I had those all picked up, just to crochet that edge and then this little tacking down here and crochet this edge, this is just single crochet bind off down here. That went really quick. So, and then here's the other one. So you can see it flat here. It's gonna roll. Just plain single crochet there. Here I did a single crochet for 1 row, and then a single crochet chain 1, skip 1, the second row. I stopped right here. That was the end of the row. I reached over, I grabbed a chain, and I just poked my hook through, brought the yarn up, poked it through, brought the yarn up, and did that down to right here. So I only went that far, and that gives me that little tack mark right there. Yeah, so those look kind of slick. I mean, they're nothing fancy, but they'd work like for somebody that has to work out in the cold and they can't really have gloves on their hand all day, but they want a little something to keep them warm. I think that would work. So just a little something today. And my Musselburgh, that goes slow, and I'll tell you why. That's going slow because it's boring. It's boring, and it's not the most comfortable. These aren't terrible tips. I mean, they're a decent length, but I don't like little tips. I like a longer one. I'd rather work on double points, I think. And if I was at a table, I would use double points instead. Or, you know, if I was going to do it at the shop, I'd probably be doing it on magic loop. I just heard somebody else say they did their Musselburgh this way, so I did it. But lesson learned. So that's what I finished today, just some mitts here. And I want to say retreats are not for knitting. They're for eating. We ate so much food at this retreat these last couple of days. And then I'm going back yet tomorrow morning, and we're gonna leave right after lunch. But there was so much food. Tonight we had turkey tetrazzini, is that what she called it? And they're in these little phyllo dough cups, and this cream turkey mixture goes in there. Oh, it was so good. And lemon squares for dessert. And we just have had wonderful food throughout. Everybody like brought a meal. There were 11 of us, like constant almost, and then a couple in and outs besides that. And we had what, 2 meals on Friday, 3 on Saturday and Sunday, and then there's 2 on Monday, but we're just going to use leftovers. So we had people bring 8 meals. And then there were a couple people that brought salads or fruit. So that just works out so nice. You just have to bring 1 meal and then you're done. But yeah, this was an eating retreat, not a knitting retreat. All right, I guess that's it for today. I hope you're enjoying my Vlogmas, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.